There were many types of people who traveled trails, such as mountain men who were trappers and hunters who searched for wild animals that were beaver, deer, bear, wolves, and they were on the Oregon Trail. There was also vaqueros, who were Mexican cowboys who wanted new ranches and more cattle. There was also Mormons, who wanted religious freedom, and they were on the Mormon Trail. Their leader was Brigham Young, who led the trail. There were many prospectors who searched for gold, and they were on the California Trail. There was also African Americans who wanted to be safe from slavery, and they also wanted to escape slavery, so they also traveled the trails. There was also many immigrants in some of their native countries. They came from China, Austria-Hungary, and Prussia, and they wanted cheap land, religious freedom, no taxes, and plenty of jobs. There was also missionaries who were on the Oregon Trail. There also were traders who were on the Santa Fe Trail, and there was many other goals such as wealth, rich farmland, and one of the men who actually traveled trails was William Marshall, and he wrote on February 24th, 1852, he wrote, "We have decided to move to the Oregon Trail. The land is free and the soil is rich. Harriet wants to go too, but she will miss her friends. She will make new ones. Tom and Henry are excited. Poor Sarah does not want to go. Also, they wanted rich resources and mild climate."
Go. On the wagon trails, our family brought candles, tents, tools, pans, sheep, medicine, and cattle. Some of the medicine we brought was harshjun, which is used for insect bites or snake bites. We also brought laudanum, which is used for pain, and we used camphor, which is for the common cold. If we were lucky enough, sometimes we had bacon, homemade bread, or buffalo meat, and jerky. If we were lucky, we would also have water, but most of the time it was covered in mud.
Some of the obstacles that we faced was wind, which was fast and heavy. We also had to trudge through rain. We were constantly mosquito covered and bugs constantly hounded us, as did cholera and accidents such as gunshots or being run over by a wagon. The mountains were very steep and they were hard to get over. The attacks from the Native Americans kept us looking over our shoulders. Some people were even struck by lightning or drowned, and wild animal attacks were also among one of our many plagues, as were scurvy, smallpox, sandstorms, stampedes, delays such as banks, gullies, cliffs, and rapids and boulders.
We sometimes traded flour for beads and buffalo hide ropes with the Native Americans. We either had oxen, cattle, or a mule pulling the wagon, but usually the mule cost more money. On the trail, we walked 15 to 20 miles a day. Children like me played frisbee and threw buffalo chips or buffalo donkeys.
There are wooden markers along the trail used as tips, such as finding water and finding the best camps, and also avoiding dangerous paths. And some of the forts were Fort Lampe and Fort Henry.
The outcome of the Donner Party was terrible. In my opinion, it's probably the worst trail disaster there is, just because of the amount of people that died, how they died, and it just goes to show that people couldn't afford to make mistakes on the trail. There was just so many things that could go wrong all at once.
Our wagon axle broke and we were stuck in the Sierra Nevada mountains. We were forced into starvation. Our food ran out in about 3 weeks. We had to eat charred bones, twigs, bark, leaves, dirt, livestock, our pets, and on Christmas of 1846, we ate the flesh of our comrades. Eventually, we had to eat the dead as well. I remember a diary entry from February 15th of 1847. We shot Towser today and dressed his flesh. Mrs. Graves came here this morning to borrow dog meat or ox meat. They think I have meat to spare, but I know that on the contrary, that they have plenty hides. I live principally on the same.
Even the wind held its breath, as the suggestion was made that for one to die, the rest might live.
The Oregon Trail was a 2,000-mile-long wagon trail. Here was what a scenario was like in one of their lives.
Cooking stove made of sheet iron, a portable table, tin plates and cups, cheap knives and forks, best ones packed away, camp stools, etc. We sleep in our wagon, on feather beds. We live on bacon, ham, rice, dried fruit, molasses, packed butter, bread, coffee, tea, and milk, as we have our own cows.
All it seems to do is rain. Nothing ever dries. Many families have sick one. We leave them behind and hope they find us. Medicine does not seem to help, but I make William, Tom, Sarah, and Henry take castor oil every day. I had to choose Henry to make him take it. William says he will soon be at Courthouse Rock. We found the grave of my nephew Letty's son. We prayed over it and left flowers. I fear losing a child on this journey.
This was a diary entry quoted from William Marshall. We have decided not to move to Oregon Territory. The land is free and the soil is rich. Harriet wants to go, but she will miss her friend. She will make new one. Tom and Henry are excited. Poor Sarah does not want to go. Most parents wanted to go, but some of kids weren't too excited about it, but because they would lose their friends. In this diary entry, as you saw, the mother Harriet was also a little upset, but losing her friends, but her husband said she will make new ones. Even though Tom and Henry were excited, poor Sarah did not want to go.
One of the things that they had to do on Life on Trail, because you did not have any time to stop. Anything that stopped you for even a day was not good. So when they couldn't make butter, they put the cream in the bucket and they put it on the bottom of the wagon. As the wagon would go through the road, it would constantly be bouncing and hitting the ground, and that would churn the butter. Another thing is some of the oxen rules. They said ha to make it go left, and they would yell G to make it go right. And if you wanted it to start going, you'd crack the whip.